Russ. I'm back out on the road again. Yeah, this is April 12th. I'm back from my trip from California, and I'm taking out the KBO Ranger. Now, you know, I've had the KBO Ranger for a while. It was sent to me last year. We did a review on the Ranger. I'll put a link in the description below so you can see the review. And I told KBO that I would do a range test as well, but then the winter hit. And when that hit, I had to stop. So we've been waiting all this time for some decent weather for me to be able to do a range test on the bike. And today's the day to do it. So, where are we going? Yeah, I think we're going to go to the post office. I've got some mail to mail. Now, some bills just don't allow you to do it online, so you have to mail it. So I figured I'd give it a try. Head out there, ride around today on this bike. Try to get as many miles as we can on it. So the way I'm going to do this, it's kind of similar to how I started doing it last year, towards the end of the year, where I simply took the bikes out and rode it the way I normally would ride, which means part of it will be pedaled, part of it will be throttled. It's going to be up and down. I think that's more realistic to how we can expect people to ride anyway. So yeah, I have the cameras angled a little bit differently here now. I don't know whether this is going to work or it's not, but we're giving it a try. Now I can see that this I'm making some adjustments here. The 360 camera, as you can probably see from the GoPro, is sitting on a invisible selfie stick, and that is attached to my handlebar with an attachment thing, and that'll keep me from having to hold the camera. Now it is facing forward, and the reason I'm doing it this way is because, you know, when you're on the road, you can't really hold it to the side when cars are coming. So I figured I'd just give a forward camera, which is of course facing towards me, is how you'll see it. And I could show you me, and then of course the GoPro is showing you forward. The only thing is that you get to see the camera from 360. Since the GoPro is facing forward, you actually see the selfie stick and the camera, but it's either that or hold it the entire time, and that's just a little too much. Now I kind of figured this is like jousting, right? Got this long pole in the front and a camera at the end of it, but so be it. Now sometimes this thing does loosen up a little bit. You know, it's quite a bit of weight actually when it's extended that far out. Of course, anyone looking at this probably thinks it's kind of weird looking with this big pole sticking out of here, but really that's the only way we can do it in order for you to see me going forward. Now I'll try to do some side views too every now and then. I'll have to pull it out of here and then hold it sideways, but not on the street. I can't guarantee what side traffic will be coming by me, and I don't want to take that chance. I think I could only do sideways if I'm on like a bike path or something that, you know, has a little bit more control. Now we're standing here waiting for the light. Just like last year, if there's no cars coming forward, it's not going to trigger the light. We don't have enough weight, and well, it's actually not weight, it's actually metal. We don't have enough metal to trigger the sensor that's on the ground here to turn the light. Now, typically, to fix this up, you'd have to go to the side where they have the little push button thing, and that'll trigger it. But we finally got what do we have here? A van next to me, so that's going to trigger it now. There we go. So as I usually have done in the past, and I'm doing again, I typically use my throttle. There goes the van. I use my throttle to get me started. And I think a lot of people who have e-bikes do the same thing. Even if they're not typically a person who throttles, they will use the throttle to kind of get them going. Now my sister, as you know, when I was out in California, she's not a very experienced rider, but she did the same thing too. She said she only used her throttle to get started. And my wife does the same thing. She pedals the entire time, but she uses the throttle to get herself started. I suggest you consider trying doing that yourself as well. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things besides just the KBO Ranger, because obviously this bike is going to be running for a while, and let me readjust myself here. It's going to run for a while, so we might as well talk about other things as well. So as you know, I came back from California. I spent 2 weeks out in California and also in Las Vegas. 4 days in Vegas. The rest of the other time was in California, in one of the northern suburbs of San Francisco. That doesn't mean we didn't go into San Francisco, because we did, but it's quite a distance. It's over an hour and something away. But we did go in, and of course my sister had to buy me a bunch of Chinese food, a bunch of dim sum. Yeah, that's the good stuff. And I think when they lived in San Francisco, it was something that they, could do anytime they wanted to. It wasn't too far from them. There's a lot of Chinese stuff out there, but after they moved, it's a specialty for them now, because where they are, there's not a lot of that. And so if they want anything like that, they got to go into the city to get it. And so she got some for me, and we had a lot of good stuff. Now, my brother-in-law, let me readjust this angle here. It kind of tilts down after a while because the weight of the camera really pulls on it. My brother-in-law is actually a pretty good cook, and he cooked up a bunch of stuff for me besides all the buffets we ate at the in Las Vegas. So you might wonder, how much weight did I gain? Yeah, I mean, I was eating like a king. All right, let's move over to the left here. I was eating like a king. Every day was something really good, and lots of it. So what's my total weight gain? Let's turn here first. Let's readjust this camera. Camera's falling over. They have to hold this every now and then. Total weight gain was 2.5 pounds. Actually, 2 pounds. Sorry. 2 pounds. I get the 0.5 from. 2 pound gain. Actually, 2 pound gain is not so bad, considering all the stuff I had. 2 pound gain is pretty good. Okay, I think this 360 camera is going to start falling over, so I think I'm going to pull it back. I don't know whether pulling it back will affect me too much. I know probably by pulling it back, there's less pressure on it, but I don't think you're going to be able to see all of me, all of the bike. That's okay. Well, let's just leave it as it is and see how it comes out. We got to experiment new things for this year anyway. And remember too, the 360 camera, I had put it on the top of my helmet before, but this time I wanted to have you see me instead of just the 360 degrees around me. So because of that, I need to move it forward. Every now and then I am adjusting it. Let's pull it in a little bit more. Just have less of it sticking out. This probably shows you the top half of me. You won't even see the bike at this point because it's not sticking out far enough. I think. I don't know. We'll see. So let's talk about a couple things here. Let's talk about the California and Vegas trip, but let's also talk about the bike. I mean, the whole point of this video is we're doing the bike, right? Let's talk about the bike. We'll come back to the California thing and Vegas thing. Now, I have modified this KBO Ranger quite a bit with the accessories that they gave me. I had asked them for a front basket, which I do have on here right now. I took off the running boards because I'm not carrying a kid or anything like that behind me, so I don't really need the running boards on. And having the running boards on the entire time just makes it a little too wide, quite frankly. You know, you got a running board on the left and the right side and the back. It makes it stick out too far. And then let's hop off here. And then I asked them for the fence, the KBO fence. They call it a fence, but what it is really something you can put on the back so that the kids, if they're sitting back there, they can hang on to it so they don't fall off while they're being ridden around. Well, I don't have any kids to put on there, so I put a milk crate back there, and then I put what do they call those things? Here's what happens when you get older: you can't remember anything. Bungee cords. There you go. I put bungee cords to hold it in place. So it works out pretty good. Now, as we know, people have called us cheater and all sorts of stuff while we've been on our bikes. I don't think anyone's going to call you a cheater when you've got a cargo bike with stuff that's in the back. They don't know what's in the back. I've also got my my tool bag in the back, inside the crate, milk crate. So it basically looks like a delivery bike now. And so I don't think anyone's going to say anything if you're doing that. But if you're with a regular bike, yeah, they might say something. They may call you a cheater for cheating and whatever, but yeah, it looks like I'm out for a delivery. Speaking of deliveries, I did see a delivery guy out in California. He was riding, I think he was riding another brand. I think it was Troxus he was riding. And yeah, his bike was set up kind of similarly. I don't think his bike was really a cargo bike. It was just a regular cruiser type bike. But he had stuff strapped to his rear rack. I think he was out for a delivery. I will say that out in California, I saw a lot more e-bikes than I do here out in the Midwest. Out here in the Chicago area, I don't see quite the number of e-bikes as I did out there. We sell a lot of different brands out there. I won't mention it too much because we're talking about KBO today, but I saw other brands out there represented, and that's a good thing. I was like, wow, e-bikes are not unique out in California. I think people have pretty much accepted that the e-bikes are there to stay out there. Not so much here. People aren't used to it yet. So you can see how I ride with this 360 camera. Yeah, I put my hand out. I let cars know that I'm turning. Hey, let's talk a little bit about some of these bikes that have turn signals. People have mentioned that, and I've mentioned it before. Turn signals are kind of cool, but I think you still got to do your hand signals. Cars are not looking for turn signals on bikes. They're probably not even going to notice it. The light's probably not even going to be bright enough on a daylight for them to even see it. You still got to use hand signals. So here's how I see turn signals being of help. After you put your hand out to tell them you're turning, then turn on your turn signal. You know, if you're stopping at a stoplight and you don't want to keep your hand extended, turn on the turn signal at that time. But don't expect that turn signal to be the one and only thing that you're going to use to let the people know that you're turning. They're not looking for that. They won't probably even notice it. So definitely use your hand signals as well. Alright, we're at the post office here, so I'm going to pull in. I did not put my hand out on this one. I was hitting the brakes. Sometimes you can't do it if you're hitting the brakes. Alright, I'm going to go on this side of the the thing. Here's the reason I would do it on this side now. Okay, let's set that up. Is because if I gotta stop, I'm not in the way of any of the cars. And putting it on this side of it puts the okay. Puts it inside the box deeper. It seems like when the thing is filled up, sometimes you could reach in and grab things out, and as you know, people were stealing checks and everything. Make sure this car doesn't run me over here. And because they're stealing checks, you don't want people reaching in and taking it. So if you stick it in from the other side, it falls in deeper because there's not a pile of mail in the way for your check to go in there. So I found that it's actually better just get up on that sidewalk, put it in on the other side of the box. So the Ranger. Let's get back to the Ranger. We talk about everything in the world. We haven't talked about the bike. So yeah, I modified the bike. I put the fence on the rear of the rack. I put the front basket on there. I have a side view mirror on here, which I recommend everybody do on any bike that you have, because yeah, you need to see what's coming up from behind you. You know, when I was out in California, back to California, I was riding with my sister, and she's behind me. I couldn't tell if she was behind me or not, so I had to keep stopping and then turning 180 degrees around just to see if she was still there. Now, if you have a side view mirror, you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, you need to have a side view mirror. I really missed having it on that bike. We put one on her bike, we put one on her son's bike, but I was borrowing my brother-in-law's bike and he didn't have one on there, so she says she's going to get another one and put it on that bike too. Because really, you need to see. There's the only way to see it is to have a mirror. Now, there's a couple of mirrors that I recommended. As you know, I have these Hafni mirrors, and I think the very first Hafni mirror I had, I had one that had a little more design to it because I thought it kind of looked cool, but I actually like the one I have here on the Ranger. It's kind of a tear-shaped version, and that little extra roundness on the bottom lets me see further down on the ground, which of course means I can see more of the cars and everything as they're coming. So get the tear-shaped one. There's a description in the there's an affiliate link in the description of the video. Get the tear-shaped one, okay? And you know, with so much stuff here on the bike, putting a right-handed mirror is kind of hard to do. So I usually just use the left side mirror. Now, some bikes I have both of them on there, left and right. And if you're able to do that, great. You know, they sell a right-handed version of that mirror too. But you need at least a left-handed version. You know, cars come up from the left. Although out in California, some guy passed me on the right with his bike, which kind of was weird. We always pass on the left. We don't pass on the right. Let's check our time here. Okay, 10:24. Now, the reason I'm checking time is I have a business call to make at. Let that car know that I'm turning. I have a business call to make by 12:30 today, so I can't miss that. Business call? Aren't you retired? Well, yeah, we're talking e-bike business call. So we're gonna have to make sure we don't miss it. So back to the KBO Ranger, going back and forth. So the Ranger has mechanical disc brakes. It's got Tektro mechanical disc brakes. Bouncing around here. And I believe he's got a 750 watt motor. I didn't review all of the specifications since taking the bike out. It's been a while since I've had this bike out, I'll tell you. But you know, for these bikes, everything changes from brand to brand, so it's kind of hard to keep track of what's what. So I have my trip meter running. It shows that we've done 4.4 miles already since riding the bike. So we're gonna keep riding it until we exhaust this battery. Now, typically, you should not exhaust your battery. You should try to keep at least 20%. If you can. I mean, sometimes you can't. I mean, if you're out on the road and you know you're running out of power and you got to get home, you do what you got to do. But on a daily basis, if you can, try not to exhaust your battery. Try to keep at least 20% on it, because going all the way down to zero kind of hurts the battery. It's not good for your battery. The same thing for fully charged. If you're not going to ride your bike for a while, you don't want to leave it fully charged. It's better for you to keep it maybe at 70% charged. And then if you know the next day you're going to go riding, then yeah, go ahead and charge it up. Now, sometimes I keep my bikes charged fully because I kind of rotate my bikes during the year. And I probably will do that again. So, oh, here's an interesting thing. We're coming up to our hill test. Let's do the hill test. Let's do the hill test here. This is how we do the hill test. We throttle up. And we just let it run as we go up this hill, and we check the mileage, the speedometer, that is, the speed. Now we're starting to drop. We're at 18 miles, 17, 16, 15, 14, 12, 11.9, 11.8. So I think we dropped down to 11.8. And then we level off again. So throttle only, going up that hill, 11.8. That's actually pretty respectable. Even the best bikes that we had that had really super high torque only could do 12.3 going up there. So 11.8. Yeah, very respectable. KBO Ranger. Did the hill, no problem. All right. Now, one thing I do notice is I do seem to have slight clicking sounds out of the motor area. I don't know what's causing that. It doesn't seem to affect the bike that I can tell. But, yeah, we do hear some clicking sounds out of it. That's not good. It's probably something's loose or something that needs to be adjusted. I don't know what that is. I was doing that actually towards the end of last year as well, as I was riding the bike. It seems to have stayed with the bike. So I don't know what that is. I'll have to contact KBO and find out if they've noticed anything like that. Clicking sounds. So what about my gears? I've got it set for 7th gear. I'm pedal assist level 4. I'll drop down to 3 a little bit here. I do tend to ghost pedal on this bike. as with many other bikes. I mean, it's not unique to this bike. a lot of the bikes, when you start going kind of fast, your pedaling can't keep up with how fast you're actually moving, and so you don't have any resistance while you're pedaling around. So a lot of times I kind of feel that they should move the chain ring or do something, move it up a bit. As you know, on my Magicycle Cruiser I did 52T. I changed the whole thing out to 52T, and that seems to help. But I do know that a lot of people don't ride as fast as I do, and so you don't really need 52T. But then there's guys like me that do, and we kind of suffer when chainring is down to like 42T. You need a little more resistance. So yeah, we're heading off to the forest preserves at this point. We'll try to see if we can get some side views as well with the 360 camera when we're out there. I'm not going to do it until we're there. It feels good to be back out again. So if the weather continues to be better, big bump there. I always forget about that bump. Let me see who's going to be turning here. Let's see which way we go, left or right. Going forward. All right. Always double check, make sure your traffic, where your traffic's at, so you don't end up getting run over or anything. All right. I'm gonna push this button. Push that button. Sets up the pedestrian walking signal. So yeah, 52T, or at least 50T, would be nice. Cut out some of that ghost pedaling. All right. But that's how it is, right? Let's go past all this first before we do anything on the side. So I have a left-handed mirror. I have my cell phone holder on, and this is the Magicycle BP09. Been using that quite a bit to move it from one bike to the next. I don't have cell phone holders on every single bike, but that particular mount allows me to take it off of one bike and put it on another pretty easily. So that's what I have been using lately. All right, what did they do here? Okay, I see. Put a bunch of tires there. I don't know what they're doing. Let's stop here for a second. Let's see what this truck is going to go, left or forward or where. Okay, he's going forward. All right. Alright, so anyway, I've been using the BP09 version from Magicycle. You know, they sent a couple of these to me. We did a review on it. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's a half mount type of phone mount. It doesn't have a top and a bottom section. It's just this bottom section here. And that works out because the clamp that clamps it's pretty tight. So this is not coming off anywhere. Let's check the time there. And the one thing I think it would be nice if the KBO Ranger had is if it had some type of USB output so that you can plug your phone into your bike battery. Because a lot of times when I'm riding, you know, you'll see me using the map systems. I use Apple Maps or Google Maps just to see where I'm going, and it starts draining my battery. It would be nice to be able to plug in so I can keep my battery on my cell phone going. So on bikes like this, I had seriously considered bringing along my battery pack. You know, you can get an external battery pack for your cell phones to recharge it on the road. and then putting a second putting a second cell phone mount on the bike just to hold the battery pack that I have, just to keep my phones charged up. So I might do that for certain bikes like this one that doesn't have the USB output. But to KBO and to other manufacturers, put those USB outputs. We kind of need them. You know, don't even make it an option. I know Rad has it as an option. You can buy things to add to your bike to give you the USB output. That should come with the bike, in my opinion. They used to, like their old Rad Rover 5 had it as part of the display. Things are flying into my eyes again. It should come with it. These are some of the things that I have as suggestions for them to do. Okay, so they blocked off the front end here. So people shouldn't be coming through here, apparently, still. They do that every year. I don't know why. All right, can I get through here? That's a good question. It's kind of narrow. I think we'd have to bounce off the bike and kind of straddle it and manually move through here. A little tight. All right, we're through. Yeah, I definitely hear clicking out of the rear hub area. It's not good. I mean, it's still running. I have no idea what's causing the clicking sounds. Sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't. Mostly clicks. Is that the motor? What is it? The only way to know is to keep riding it. I can't fix it. I've looked. I can't find where it's clicking from. So how am I supposed to fix it if I don't know where it's coming from? So the display. Let's talk about the display on the KBO Ranger. Well, all right, hold on. Let's see if we can pass through here without getting killed. Can you guys hear the clicking? Yeah, still clicking. The display. They tell me that the display kind of looks like the display that's on a electric bike, electric XPs, all those guys. There's an energy bar thing, tells you the speed. So there's speedometer there, your PAS level. I'm at PAS 3 right now. That's your pedal assist levels. It says manual, and then it says trip. And it's also your odometer too. So trip meter shows 7.1 miles already. Yeah, we've been moving around here. It's about right, from what I remember. Yeah, I charged up this battery fully before taking it out, so we had a full battery to start. You know, in the past I was doing these range tests by simply pedaling the entire time. You're going to get a better range if you do that. Then I thought about it. I says, what good does that do me? I don't pedal all the time. I kind of do a combination of throttle and pedal. A lot of throttle, in fact. And coasting. So I'm thinking a more realistic way of, at least for me, for my own information, is to ride the way I normally ride. And whatever it comes out to be, that's what it comes out to be. Now those are probably more realistic numbers than it would be if you try to get the best range out of everything. Okay, so you can see over here, everything got burnt out. They do that every year. They burn everything down, so all the brush or whatever they want to call that gets burnt down to the bottom, and then it grows all back again. They don't do all of it. So you see on the right hand side, on this side, all this stuff got burnt. On this side, nothing got burnt. And I think they do that because, you know, you still have animals that kind of hide in there. I mean, the deer got to go somewhere. I mean, there's deer in this area, as we know. I always wondered though, when they burn these things out, what about the animals that are over here while the fire is going on? I think they get burned up. I mean, I guess they just kind of hope that they run out of there while the fire is happening. But some things don't move very fast, because I've seen, snapping turtles out here. I've seen snakes out here. Little chipmunks, little squirrels. I don't think some of them make it. I think some of them get burnt up when they start the fires. How are you gonna wrangle up all the animals and say, "Hey guys, move to the left because we're burning out the right"? That doesn't happen. So I kind of feel bad for some of the animals that don't make it out of there. So what's the future of the Russ is Right channel? Well, we had been doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But now that the weather's getting better, yeah, we may try to do 5 or 6 videos a week again. Last year we did 6 videos a week. We did everything except Sunday. I can't guarantee that we will be able to do that going forward. I'm going to try. But let me say this. If we don't get that, I think it would be Tuesday through Saturday. I think that's more realistic for me at this point. Tuesday through Saturday we'll have videos. Okay? So you're going to have to keep watch to find out whether we continue on or whether we have to stop for a given day. Move this up a little bit. Now the reason I'm picking Tuesday through Saturday is because that gives me Sunday and Monday off. Sometimes during the weekend there's things going on. I can't record a video during the weekend, so I probably wouldn't have a video available for Monday. And typically I take Sundays off anyway, so yeah, let's go for Tuesday through Saturday. And Monday will be something that we will put on there if I have the ability to do it. All right? You just kind of look to see if anything came out on Monday. If it doesn't come out, okay, Russ wasn't able to do it. But the other days I should be able to do it. This is provided that the weather remains good. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you see there's people out now. People are doing their walks. Things are starting to get green. Trees are still kind of like sticks at this point, but the grass is starting to get a little greener. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep riding around until we exhaust this battery. It's going to take me a while. I'm not going to keep you out the entire time, but we'll pick it up again a little later as we're getting closer to the end of our time. Oh, I didn't talk about the rest of the trip. Let's talk about that, and then we'll sign off after that. Now, I did a video already about the trip. I am planning to release a couple of extra videos that'll actually show you my Vegas buffets, show you what I ate, give you a little more insight on those 3 buffets that we went to. I already released one video. Probably by the time you see this one, the other one would have been released. I already released one video that has me riding out in California. The thing is that is just like a straight ride, because my sister wasn't a very she's not used to riding her e-bike. It's been many years since she's ridden a bike. She wasn't a big bike rider even when she was a kid. So she wasn't going too quickly, but at the end of it all, she was finally doing close to 15 miles an hour. I would say she averaged 13 to 15 miles an hour towards the end of it all. I'm glad we were able to get her out there on the bike. I know her husband and her son aren't that into biking, although she bought bikes for them all. but she's going to need them in order for her to go bike riding, because she can't lift her bike onto that bike rack. It's too heavy. So they're going to have to lift it on there. Even if they put it on there for her, she got to get it off of the rack. So they've got to be there with her. All right. So that ride was like straightforward, and it wasn't a whole lot of scenery to see either. In her area, she has some really huge hills. And so going up and down that would have been interesting, but yeah, I wasn't going to do that. First off, I don't think I have the leg strength to pedal it all the way up. But I'll tell you, I'm surprised at how many bike riders I see out in San Francisco area. Yeah, they'll ride those hills. So in my opinion, if you're going to do that, you need a bike that has good torque. You either get yourself a mid-drive bike and pedal that. Probably better off that you do that if you're a peddler. Peddler. And then if not, then you better get one that has a hub motor that has extremely good torque. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. Let's go past here. One thing I do like about the Tektro brakes, that bell is right at your fingertips. And a bunch of frogs. You can hear them. Yeah, there's a lot of people walking. I don't even know if I could even do side views. I guess I could if I did it to the right, but I use my right hand so I can throttle as I'm riding with the 360 camera. So I gotta hold it with my left hand. Alright, let's go around here first. I'll see if I can get some side views for you. Pass up a bunch of people. There's a lot of people out today. I'm curious how this 360 camera is going to go, because we're bouncing around quite a bit. So the energy bar on this display drops as we go up the hill, because you're putting a strain on the motor as you're going up the incline. And then as I let up off of the throttle, or as we level off, then it comes back up again. Oh, it's really windy. Yeah, really windy. Hopefully the microphone is cutting out most of the wind. It typically has in the past. It's the one thing that I think people have always said, that the audio from the Russ's Right channel has always been decent, where they could hear me even with the wind. Well, you get a good microphone that has a good windscreen on it. It helps a lot. Tell you though that these windscreens are not cheap. If you lose the windscreen, it's just a little foam thing. I've tried other types of windscreens on there, but as long as you buy the one that's designed for this mic, it cuts out a lot of the wind noise, I should say. So yeah, you got to get the right one. Now, when I was out in California, I didn't bring my audio recorder and the microphone and the helmet or anything like that. It was just a little too many things to bring. I mean, we have limitations on how much stuff you can carry with you. So yeah, let me grab the camera out here. All right, let's disconnect this thing here. So we'll hand hold this thing Let's see if we can do it. See if we can do it with one hand. Now, I'm just going to leave this up in front for now until we pass this person. Typically, when I do this, I don't pedal at all. I find that, here we go. I find that throttling it is safer for me while hand holding the 360 camera to the side. And again, this only works if there's nobody around. Nobody coming up from behind, nobody coming up from the front. Of course, you don't see me actually pedaling then. Okay, we'll pedal a little bit. How's that? But I'm telling you, pedaling and holding the thing to the side and just hanging onto the handlebar with one hand is not easy. Let's move forward again because we got people coming. Back out again. So at least you get a view. Now, some people had said that the bike, the last time I did the review of this bike, they said, oh, you look kind of short on it. I think I had the angle of the 360 camera a little bit too high. So it looked like I was angling down. All right, we gotta move again. It's kind of critical that you keep it kind of level. Keep it level, then at least I think it gives you more better perspective of what the size of the bike is to the guy. Otherwise the bike looks really small. Now these are 20-inch tires, so obviously it's not as big as my big cruiser type bikes. Alright, let's do this again. Alright, I'm gonna reattach it to the front. I think it's a little too hard to keep it going pass up a while. I got to go further up because otherwise the walker catches up to me. Okay, let's stop over here. All right, let's retract that a little bit, stick it back here. Now this clamp that I bought last year in anticipation that I would probably be doing stuff like this. And you can't hold that thing forever. I mean, you need your hands to hit the brakes, right? So now there are other angles we could do where I've attached it to the rear of the bike and then you see a different angle. Others have done it where they, you can see the angle of him pedaling. Yeah, okay, that's nice. But I'm too lazy to do it. So according to this, energy bar still shows full power. The only problem with the energy bar thing, it doesn't really give me a true reading of how much battery's left. I mean, if I go strictly based on the energy bar when I'm at idle area like this where I'm not actually pushing down anything, it'll show, hey, you got full power. You know that's not true. We're at 11.6 miles of running time already, so you know you've used a certain amount of battery, but can't really tell based on this. So I think the way I'm going to be doing some of these rides that have displays like this is I'll ride close to maybe 20 miles and then I got to stay closer to home because when the battery runs out, I don't want to be pedaling back 7 miles. I'd rather pedal a mile back if I had to versus too far away. So we got to go back on the streets later on. So we do it for time. Okay, we got almost 11 o'clock. And this is why if I had a second battery for some of the bikes, carry that second battery with you. I could do this test until the thing totally exhausts out. And then just swap out the battery and then head home, right? I have a second battery to do it. But I don't have two batteries for every bike. Not every bike company gives it to me that way. And sometimes I haven't asked for it. Like I did not ask for two batteries for this bike because I know that I'm not taking this bike for the long distances. So there's no real reason for me to have a second battery, so I don't ask for it. Other bikes, like cruiser type style bikes and the like, or folding bikes, I may ask for that second battery so that I can take the bike out farther, go different places with it. It gives us more ride time with that battery. But not every bike needs it. Not every bike is going to be taken for that type of purpose. So, all right, let's call it for now, and then I'll come back and finish off the review for you on the range as we get closer towards the end. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so how are we doing? Well, we're back out on the street now. We're currently at 20.8 miles. Now the energy bar seems to be around down 3/4 of the way, but if you hit the throttle hard, you'll see that the energy bar will drop down to 1. So I think we're close to the end. We're not quite there yet, but we're coming very close. 20.9. So my guess, if I had to guess at this point, I would say we're going to hit around 22, 23. 21 miles at this point. All right, 23, 24 would be my guess. I'll put a graphic up as to what our final end result is, but at least I wanted to at least record a little bit more before it finally dies out on me. So what's my thoughts so far? Well, I will have to say that the motor is clicking, or something is clicking in the back quite a bit, which is not good. I'll have to reach out to KBO and find out why it's clicking. It doesn't seem to affect the performance at all, but it is clicking. Is that loose spokes? Is that the motor? I think it's the motor. Quite frankly, I don't see what else it would be if it's not the motor. Well, something in there is clicking around. It's quite noticeable at this point. So something's not quite right. But I will say that the performance is still going. I mean, it doesn't seem to affect it one way or the other. It just doesn't sound that great as it's clicking around. But, you know, as I said on reviews, I'll tell you as it is, and that's what I'm noticing at this point. So as far as its overall range, it's typical of this type of style of bike. I know it doesn't have a 20 amp hour battery. I'm not sure exactly what's in there. I'm thinking 14, 15. I'll have to check the specs. I'll put a graphic up here again as to what the actual amp hours is on the battery. It's a 48 volt system. So my impressions of the Ranger, it's still a good bike. I'm not sure what the clicking is. That kind of bothers me a little bit. But I think the things that they could probably improve on is try to put a larger chain ring or something so that you don't have the ghost pedaling. That would help a lot. It is a mechanical disc brake system. I know a lot of bikes nowadays are going towards the hydraulics, but to keep the pricing within reason and still offer what they offer, these are good mechanical disc brakes. It stops very well. Being that it's a Tektro brand is good too, because you can get brake pads very easily for it. It's not some off-brand that you can't find brake pads for. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit. So yeah, still overall good value. You know, if you get a good copy of the bike that doesn't have the clicking sounds, I think you'd be very happy with it. Definitely get a side view mirror. You're gonna need that. Everybody needs that, quite frankly. I don't see anyone not wanting or needing one. Let's see, I'm gonna turn around here. I'm not going on this big street. Like I said, range is pretty typical for this type of bike. It is an integrated battery in the Ranger. In the sense that, you know, you can take a second battery with it you just drop it out at the bottom end and then slide it back in there. But it doesn't have a battery that sticks up, is what I'm saying. You know, some of the older designs of bikes, you can pretty much see the battery sticking up. Like my Rad Rover 5, the battery sticks up out of it. And you know, there's good and bad to those type of designs. The good part is that, you know, it's easy to change out to another brand of battery if you needed to. You can modify it. You know, just kind of change the cabling system a little bit, and then you can put another type of battery in there if you wanted. You know, batteries like this that go integrated into the down tube, like this one and many of the others now, you're kind of stuck with their battery. So I think a lot of people say that they don't like that, because in case if a company were to go out of business, you know, how do you get another battery? That's always a concern. But in terms of style-wise, it looks really nice this way, because you don't see the battery sticking up, and you know, it's harder to tell that it's an e-bike. But you know, anyone who's been around e-bikes enough knows that when you see a big fat down tube, it's probably an e-bike. Regular bikes don't have down tubes that are that thick. So where are we at here? We're 22.5 right now. And we're still going strong. What did I predict? 23, 24? Yeah, I might do it. So let's see how accurate our speedometer is. It says 21, 22. So yeah, the speedometer thing says 22. I was reading 21 on average. So it's close, yeah. So it seems like the speedometer is reading a little bit higher than what the radar was reading, by about a mile to maybe 2 miles an hour faster on the bike. Still acceptable. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. Should be perfect, right? But yeah, none of these bikes are really perfect. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day. This review has been going kind of long, so yeah, I appreciate you guys watching along. I'll put a graphic up as to what the final end result was. Right now I'm at 23 miles. Letting go of the throttle, our energy bar shows 1. So yeah, I'm going to call it at 23 through 23 and a half, something like that, before this thing totally runs out. Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Keep an eye for more reviews and more regular bike rides throughout the year now. Like I said, we're going to try to do at least Tuesdays through Saturday with videos. And more reviews to come too. There are new bikes coming along. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you want to buy one of these bikes, go ahead and hit the affiliate link that's in the descriptions. Helps me out a lot. I'll talk to you guys next time.